Hi, I'm Amanda Jane, and welcome to the Communicate with Confidence podcast. My aim is to take the fear out of communicating and make it easy and fun. On this podcast, I'm going to be talking about everything to do with good communication, how we can connect with our audience, get better at speaking and giving presentations, increase visibility, and ultimately get more sales. I'll also be talking to some incredible people about their business, and I'll be getting their insights on how they view communication and how comfortable they are showing up in person and on social media. So let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Communicate with Confidence podcast. I'm your host Amanda Jane, and my guest is also Amanda Jane. Hello.
Hello, Amanda Jane.
Thank you for joining me.
The Amanda Janes unite.
I know this should be a podcast all on its very own. I
Yeah,
have to say, I don't think I've met another Amanda Jane.
no, I love it. Yeah,
So you are an audience engagement expert, is that right?
it is. Yeah.
We will hear a little bit more about that later on. But before we begin, have you had a chance to think about your favourite motivational song?
Do you know, it was really hard to just pick one. I have so many for different situations. So whether that's I need to ramp myself up to do some exercise, or if I need to be a bit brave, something new that I'm doing on the horse, it totally varies. It tends to be a bit more like dance music. So maybe Disclosure or Disciple, something like that, if it's exercise based. If it's generally just getting myself ramped up for maybe work, I love a bit of Queen.
Oh,
I Want to Break Free is a
um,
really firm favourite of mine that works, to be fair, in pretty much any situation.
yeah,
But I also absolutely love country and western. I play that a lot just for day to day. Just keeps it's just so nice and light and cheery. It just,
yeah.
yeah,
Have you
keeps
noticed
me
there's a lot of
positive.
country and western music around at the moment?
It seems to have exploded. I mean, I've been into it for a while, but yeah, all of a sudden, everybody seems to be into it. Apparently, it's because of the Yellowstone TV series.
Ah, is that why?
Apparently, that's what I'm hearing. But it's not a bad thing because it's even
No, I
crept
love
into
it.
clothes shops. There's like a country and western fashion going on, so I'm going to stock up.
Yeah, it's just nice. It's different, and I love all kinds of music, but I was practically raised on country and western music, so it is nice that it's
Oh,
making some
yeah.
sort of a comeback. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Great.
So what about a motivational quote? Do you have one?
I do, and I wrote it down because even though it's my favourite, I always get it the wrong way around and get it wrong. So it is, here we go. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. I heard it a couple of years ago when I was working on some confidence challenges I had at the time, and it's just always stuck with me. Well, whenever I get a little bit lost and start to overthink things, or imposter syndrome creeps in, I come back to it. Just start where you are, use what you have, just do what you can, one step at a time. But yeah, it's my absolute favorite.
That is good. I like that. That's really good advice as well, because you do get overwhelmed and you
Mm.
find yourself suddenly going, I need this, I've got to do that. No, I love that. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
definitely go on the list. And do you have a favorite book? Do you read?
I do, yeah. I do try and branch out, but I always come back to crime thrillers. I just
Oh,
love a good thriller.
mm.
Um, I read a lot of Martina Cole, and my favorite ever is The Runaway. But yeah, I love her books. I mean, I've got loads of favorites. The Midnight Library was one that I read recently that I
Oh, I love
absolutely
that too.
loved.
About that.
Yeah, I just loved it. So I do like some different genres, but I tend to come back to the crime thrillers. I love a good page turner. I just love getting in bed with my Kindle in the pitch black, all the lights out, under my duvet, until I'm ready to go to sleep. It's like one of my favorite things to do at the end of the day. It's just
Yeah,
glorious.
it is. It's amazing when especially when you're really engrossed in a book and you're looking
Mm.
forward to getting back into
Yeah.
it. Do you know, I love a good thriller myself, but I haven't read any Martina Cole, but I will dig one out. Definitely one I'll add to this. Do you know, my list is so huge. All these books I want to read, and there's just not
Yeah,
enough time.
I know. Well, I have like audiobooks going in the car as well to try and get through more because I've got so many I want to read. So I've usually got
Yeah.
a Kindle on the go, a paperback, because I like a physical book,
Hmm.
and an audiobook on the go as well. Because I just love books.
Audiobooks are good, aren't they? Because you can multitask.
Yeah, yeah. You're doing your housework, get your
Yeah. Oh,
audiobook on.
that's the best invention ever, I think. Good audiobook. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. So can you give us a brief overview of what you're working on at the moment? What are you currently doing?
Oh, too many things, too many things. So the main thing is the event that I'm organising in Manchester. I had a brainwave, sat in my pajamas the other Saturday morning, sipping my coffee, um, because I still have a full-time job. I train people in a sales force day in, day out. Used to getting up and talking, got no issue with it. And I'd love to speak at an event just to raise my visibility and profile, but it's quite difficult when you're new to the online business space because you're a nobody essentially. And I'd quite like to be a somebody, wouldn't we all?
And nobody like that.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm just a nobody. So yeah, I thought I'm just going to organise my own event. There's a venue that I use for my work events. So I'm just going to do my own. So there's me, there's three other speakers that have come forward, which is super exciting. And I just want people who are like new to business and maybe in the same headspace I am. And we were just talking about it briefly before we came on. Like, I've consumed so much that I need to do from a business. I've got all the books, I follow all the people, I've joined all the memberships, done all the courses. So it'd be really good just to have a day where we just get a real clear strategy for what we need for 2025 based on like, because I've done the business strategist course as well, um, our own like values and how we want to run things because there's so much conflicting advice like post 10 times a day, don't post 10 times a
Yeah.
day, sell regardless of the size of your audience, don't sell. So I thought we could have a day where we'll all pull it all together, with four experts in their field and go away with like real actions to take into next year. So they're going to be workshop based and it's a nice small group. So, we can give each person individual attention. So it's shaping up really nicely. And then the other one is a course that I'm launching in October, all about presentation and facilitation skills, because that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. Um, Probably like a lot of you listeners, I did Lisa Johnson's OTM course, and a lot of people there are launching courses, but expressed this sort of nervousness about structuring it, presenting it, making it impactful. And that's where the idea came from, really. It was like, I can actually help people with that because I've
Hmm.
been doing it for a long time. So
And
those are
it's
the two
such
big
a
ones.
valuable skill to have to be able to present and facilitate, and learning all the theory is wonderful, and I've done the OTM as well, but to have the opportunity to implement it, see it in action, and see the bones and put a bit of meat on those bones.
Yeah.
But you sound like a real go-getter. You've just up to gone and done it and planned
I know.
things.
But it's sometimes to my detriment because I have like 1,000 plates to spin. I'm a very fast mover. Like I don't sit down and plan, and I'm just like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm on it. I'm taking action and sort of figuring out as I go. I've always managed like that. It's just how
Yeah.
my brain works. But yeah, sometimes I do end up with 100 plates to spin.
But that's good because there's got to be what's the opposite of a procrastinator then? There's that's you.
Me?
Yeah. Because a lot of people have some wonderful ideas, and life gets in the way, whatever reason, and they have that many ideas that they never get to finish one of them.
Yeah,
But
I'm
if you
just,
can get to
yeah.
finish one of them, or implement one of them and keep doing it. My issue was I had a load of notebooks, and I was putting all these ideas in a million notebooks, and then I had to go digital to keep everything in one place because I was having this stack of notebooks,
Mm.
but it's helped me focus, keep everything in one place. And I now remember where everything is. But
That's what I need to do.
if you're that ideas person, you need to have something on hand to write your ideas down all the
Mm.
time so you don't lose all of that. But yes, someone will have to tell me what the opposite of a procrastinator is, because that's what you are.
Impatient, just super impatient. Like, people laugh at me. Like, one day I decided I really want to have chickens in my back garden, and I had them by like the next day. I'd been and got a coop, sought somebody out for the hens, and that was it. They were there like within 24 hours. I was like, yeah,
Yeah. Do you
made a
know, that's
decision.
funny. It's when I started my podcast, I was advised to start a podcast, and the person that advised me said, "Oh, you should start a podcast." And I think most people's reaction to that was horror, but I was like, okay. And I just did it, and I hadn't a clue. I hadn't a clue what I was doing. And I keep the very first podcast because I think you have to show your journey of your
Mm.
learning. And I just kept thinking to myself, do the next step, do the next step. And we were saying before, I imagine podcasters to have these studios, all this expensive equipment. And thinking back to my pre-podcast, my expectations versus reality is completely different. But yes, you don't need a studio, you don't need all those things. But I just jumped in, and I did it, and
Went
I
for
quite
it.
like that. I did that because you will learn the next thing you need to learn. Just go back to what you
Mm.
said, start where you are. And
Mm.
had I known all the things I needed to know, it would have put me off. So
Mm.
because I just did the next thing and the next thing, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Obviously, there were words and things in there that I didn't know and I needed to learn, but that's part of the process, part of any process, because it's new. But no, that's I hope your event goes well. I'm sure it will be, and you'll come back on the podcast to tell us all about it
Yeah, I hope
and
so.
what a
Yeah,
wonderful
super
success it
excited.
was.
Yeah.
So on to leadership then. Can you share your leadership journey and some of the milestones that shaped your career?
Wowzers. So my career has been shaped by probably all the things, and again, quite impulsive decisions that shouldn't have shaped where I've ended up today in my career. Probably the biggest one was when I was due to go to university and I was 17. I live on the coast in North Wales, and I was due to go to Liverpool to do geography. Just picked a random subject, didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, like most of us at that age, not a clue. I was just going to uni to time waste, really. Didn't want to start a real life yet. And then I got offered my first horse for free when I was 17, and I didn't want to pass up on that. So I changed my whole path and went to a local university doing a completely different subject, went through clearing so I could keep her. And that was the first the first milestone, because I'd wanted my own horse like all my life. And then
Wow.
yeah, I got offered my first one. I already knew I'd been riding her since I was 12 years old. She was at the riding school I worked at. She was just a bit of a funny character. She wasn't suitable for that environment. And they said she can have her. So yeah, that was the
Wow, what a gift.
yeah. Well, depends how you view it. She was
Well, expensive gift, I
challenging.
suppose it
Yeah,
worked out
no,
in the
yeah,
end, yeah.
no, she was an absolute gift, horse of a lifetime. So yeah, that was probably not the sort of conventional milestone. But yeah, that was the first one that sent me off to a local university. And then the second one was probably just before I come into the role that I'm in now, because I'm still in full-time work. I was a business development manager, selling business to business for a large corporate for many years. And I was really good at my job. But like a lot of us, somebody else always sees your potential more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never really had that self belief. And a job came up uh, in my company to take over the training role. And my manager said, "You need to go for that. That is you. That job is you. Like, it's got you written all over it." I was like, "Absolutely not. I can't do that." Anyway, I went for it. I got it. And 7 years later,
Wow.
I'm still leading the training program for my company for the UK and the Nordics. So those were like the two
Wow.
big sort of changes that have led me to where I am now, heading up the training for like 5 countries. So it's
Fantastic.
a little bit bonkers. Yeah. Yeah.
So how interesting that was. It your manager you said that saw you before you did? I love to hear that because I think you're so lucky if there's someone in your working life that points that out for you. And because maybe you may not have even considered going for that, but you had someone that had faith and believed in you and said, absolutely go for it.
Yeah, he just sat me down and said, "Have you not even looked at this?" I was like, "No." He was like, "I feel selfish not telling you because I know you'll be amazing." He said, "I don't want to lose you from my team because you're like my best salesperson. But equally," he says, "I know this is going to be a really good step for you. Like, I know you're going to thrive." And he wasn't wrong. 7 years later, I'm still here. And last year, I won the Global Award for Best Trainer of the Year. So,
Wow.
yeah, still
Congratulations.
thriving.
That
Yeah,
is no
I
mean
know.
feat. That's
I mean,
incredible.
I still find it absolutely bonkers. I'm like, me, the woman with 3 chickens in a back garden and
Oh,
a cat obsession and clumsy and I don't know.
do you know
Yeah.
what? They're all the idiosyncrasies that make us only those little unique features. But I love the chicken idea. So within within that then, so he sounds pretty amazing. Did you have any role models or were you looking up to anyone along that journey? I'm curious to see if he was one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been different ones. Like I'd say earlier in my career, my idea of what I thought leadership was led me to look up to people who I wouldn't now. So, when I first started in sales, I looked up to people who were a bit more the opposite to me, I think, like a bit more dominant, really good at putting their foot down, really good at commanding. And I thought those were all the qualities of a leader. And so I
Hmm.
tried to emulate that, I guess, but it's just so not me.
Yeah.
And I thought that's how I needed to be. And as I've gone through my career and I work, you know, with leaders in my company now, at a European and global level, you realize that it's like the absolute opposite.
Yeah.
Um, and actually being yourself, and actually one of my, I guess, strongest qualities is my empathy. Although when I was younger, viewed that as a weakness.
Oh
Actually, when it comes
wow.
to leadership, it's the
Hmm.
total
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
And actually, the epiphany came when we launched a new course a few years back because I also train coaching, so I train managers how to coach and on leadership, funnily enough.
Hmm.
And we were, brainstorming what makes a good leader. And it's all about emotional intelligence and being transparent and honest. And even though I'd already seen that in other leaders, and those were the ones I admired the most, it was that penny drop moment of you just need to be more yourself because you're actually right on the money with the way you are with people,
Hmm.
not this view that you had of trying to be a bit more dominant and a bit more, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think the face of leadership over the years has gradually softened around the edges, and the focus on emotional intelligence has become more widely known. And you don't have to go in and stamp your feet and give orders and do all that. And you've just knocked it on the head right there. That's precisely it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of going on a journey with the team rather than, you
Mm-hmm.
captaining the ship in the sort of
Yeah.
traditional sense. But it's getting people to work collaboratively together to fulfill a function and to get a job done. And the more self-awareness you have
Mm-hmm.
and empathy and emotional intelligence, the more awareness you have of the team, the more tuned you are to them. It just makes logical sense that you're going to work well together and that you're going to overcome whatever problems are going to come up, because they will do. And it won't just be the problems in work, it'll be things going on outside, which is the whole person. And having that understanding, in my experience anyway, makes for a better work-life balance, more understanding in the workplace, less time off sick, all of those things. So I think you've absolutely nailed
1,000%.
it there. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, the less traditional ways are hopefully behind us. So within that context, then, how important do you think communication is in leadership?
I mean, I don't think it could be more important. Like it's, the top skill. So it is that self-awareness, awareness of others, and then yeah, communication is, I mean, it's absolutely top of the list, but it's how you communicate, how you present, recognizing, other people's communication preferences. I think that's probably one of the hardest things to do when you work with a lot of different people, is everybody does communicate differently and receives information differently, and they have different wants. Because again, I sound like I'm showing off now. I teach profiling as well, and different personality styles, and
Ooh,
I know, and I've got
this is
loads up my
fascinating stuff.
sleeve. I've got loads up my sleeve, I tell you. I could do like a whole week course.
You could.
And actually doing that and being aware of myself and others, because you're complete opposite is the people you get most frustrated with, because I'm very much just get to the point, just give me the top line details. And I work with somebody who's incredibly detailed, but because I'm aware of myself,
Yeah.
I can keep a lid on it and just
Yeah.
appreciate that she has to go to every detail, the nth degree. But it's understanding other people, but starting with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and just being self-aware on how you communicate, and
Mm.
you've got to appreciate not everybody, you're not the blueprint for everybody.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. Actually, you're not the blueprint for everybody. And I found that I try to ask people how they like to communicate, how they like to be communicated with, and that having that self-awareness is the first step.
Mm.
And I find I communicate differently with different people because they are all different, and that blanket message delivered that way, it just doesn't work. And sometimes you will have to give the same message in a different way to different individuals, because as you just pointed
100%.
out, people like more detail, people, and obviously you don't always have the time or luxury to do that. But I think if you're upfront and you acknowledge that person's how they like to receive the message, you can say, well, I will always endeavor to do this, but sometimes I may not be able to, however, blah blah blah. But it is that having that self-awareness and understanding that everyone is different. And also with neurodiversity as well, I think we are more neurodiverse, and I've always tried my hardest to build that into my communication with, and I can't imagine anything more upsetting than being in the workplace and not having that understanding in the workplace. And you don't have to know all the ins and outs, you just have to have that awareness and reach out and do a little bit of research, make it a little bit easier. But having the awareness of neurodiversity can make the world of difference for that employee in the workplace. But it's having that balance and understanding that is there. But no, you've hit, I'm going to write that down. You don't have the blueprint for communication.
Yeah, it was like, I can't remember when it came to me. I think maybe I was listening to another podcast many years ago when we were studying emotional intelligence. I can't remember where it came from, but it was such a penny drop moment, that you think you're the blueprint and everybody thinks like you,
Yeah.
and they absolutely don't.
Yeah.
And that you can get frustrated with other people's communication styles or how they like to receive things, but actually they can complement you, because some of the things you might miss. So I've got somebody I work with who's incredibly detailed, and at times I find it frustrating, but I've learned to actually value that, because I miss things that she never misses. So I'll actually work in collaboration with her a lot, because I'm so fast paced and bang, 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 get stuff done. And she'd be like, but what about this? And what about that? And I'm like, actually, yeah, go through it all with me, because you're dead right.
Yeah.
You're dead
And
right.
that is so valuable. If you have that conversation with that person, you just get that little glimpse of something that your mind or your brain may never see.
Yeah.
And like sentiment. So to explain that to me, tell me how you see that. What do you take from this? And there's nothing more enlightening really than doing that. And I'm the same. I have different people around me, and I will say, what does that mean to you? Can you interpret that? But it's so enlightening. And then I love it when the veil finally lifts and you think, oh, now I understand. And I think just that willingness to understand can save so much hassle further down the line, and make life so much easier for a lot of people. Thank you for that. I love that. The blueprint. I'm definitely going to write that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get the impression that you're confident standing up in front of an audience. So let me see if my impressions are right. How comfortable are you with your audience? Are you happy to stand up in a room? Are you happy to show up on social media? Is there a difference?
I mean, yeah, I haven't always been, believe it or not. And naturally, I am an introvert. I love my own company. I love being alone. Um, but you just find your ways to get comfortable with it. The first time I stood up in front of an audience at a national sales meeting for the company I work at, in front of an audience of like 80 people, I was like a rabbit in headlights. It was absolutely horrendous. But I was literally like a rabbit in headlights because there was spotlights shining in my
Oh,
face because it was
yeah.
on the stage and I couldn't see the audience. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And it was everybody was ever so polite and gave me lots of encouragement. But I know it was rubbish because I just froze.
Oh, that's
Um,
awful.
I know it was. It was absolutely
Awful for
horrific.
you, not awful.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, it was awful for them as well. They didn't get any value from that session. You know,
Oh,
you've got to start somewhere, and the more you do it, the better it gets. And now
yeah.
I don't even get slightly nervous. I'm totally fine. And I'm fine showing up on social media. I'm fine going live. The only thing that makes me cringe is when people I know find me. So I can go live, 1,000 strangers could turn up, and I'd be absolutely fine. But when somebody I know, like a close friend or a family member, comes on and I see them pop up live that they're watching, oh, it
Yes.
totally, what is that?
Yeah,
Like,
I can
I just,
relate. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
what that is. It's
there must
awful.
be there must be some phenomenon for that. There's got to be a word. And I
Yeah.
wonder what maybe it's to do with we were talking about the Midnight Library. Maybe it's to do with the versions of us. And
Possibly.
and we like to keep the it's separate, but that is really there must be a
There's got to
psychologist
be,
somewhere that
yeah,
can
I need to
explain
study
that.
it. I need to know, like, because I can guarantee every time I go live and, you know, love you to bits, Auntie Stella, she always comes on and I see her pop up and I'm like, oh no, cringe, you're there again. And I have a laugh about it. Obviously, she can't laugh back with me because I can just see a little icon. And I
Oh,
just think, just carry on, just keep talking. And I just keep going. She might be like the only person viewing at that
oh, do you know what?
time.
That's obviously something born of love and born of pride, you know. And I think,
And she's
and have
super supportive. She's like, I love it. I really get into it when you're talking because
oh,
she's started a business as well.
has
She's like, I find
she?
it really useful. It's really valuable. I really get into it.
Wow, that's
Um,
incredible.
yeah, so it's super supportive. I just, yeah, I don't know why I find it cringe when people I know.
Well, do you know the beauty of having a podcast, and it still takes me by surprise. So I get my stats and I see how many times it's been downloaded, and I don't know who's listening. It'll tell me by country, and it's quite nice that it's anonymous. But when people say to
Yeah,
me, "Oh, well, listen to your podcast," about such, it absolutely just jolts me because I think
yeah,
you listen to my podcast, and of course people are going to listen. Well, you know, it is a surprise when you start to know that people do listen, but because it's so anonymized and it's just figures and you know on your stats,
yeah.
it does jolt me when people say, oh yeah, I heard you talking about that.
Yeah,
But
it took me a while to like go public with it on my personal Facebook profile because I changed it to professional. I was like, there's a huge audience here, you know, there's people who can share what I'm doing. I'm going to have to do it. But it took me a couple of months to build up the courage to put anything out in front of my friends and family and actually put a post out to say, look, it's going to start getting a bit cringy around here for the people that know me
oh,
because I've started this business. But do you know what? Um, my lifelong dream has always been to have a house with some land and my horse outside my front door. So I'm going to use my skills to, you know, generate some extra income. And one day it's going to happen. I am going to make it happen. So just if you don't like it, don't follow me. It's fine. Everybody just message like go for it. Like I
yes, of
couldn't believe
course.
actually the support that came
Yeah.
through because
And I
I
can't
said this is
imagine that anyone in that environment would even think negatively of you at all. And
yeah.
it's just that just because they're a little bit closer and there's emotion involved, maybe that's why it
Yeah,
feels a
I
bit
don't know why I
cringe,
worried
but
about it so much. And people ask me all the
no.
time, how's it going? You know, you look amazing. We've seen your Instagram and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And people just ask me, and people in work are finding me now when I go on a WebEx with someone, they'll be like, what is it you're doing? It's amazing. And somebody messaged me just this week. I've not worked with her for a while. She left the company a few years ago, and she reached out and she just wanted to say, I find what you're doing so inspiring. You're so brave. And like, even when we worked together, I said we were that close. And it just really took me back. Like I couldn't get over it at a time where I was really doubting myself as well. You know, you have those
Mhm.
moments where you're like, who do I think I am? What am I doing? And then this message came through just to say, I can't, you know, I'm so impressed. You've inspired me. I think I'm going to do something. I think you're so brave. I was like, just totally taken aback by it. It was amazing.
How fantastic is that?
I
And one of
know.
the things that I do on my coaching is it shows up a lot. People are always afraid of being judged.
Mm,
And one of the things I say is, what if someone's judging you positively? People never think about
exactly.
that. And there you have that concrete evidence
I'm
right there.
living proof.
Hmm.
Like I haven't had, you know, anybody negative, and if they are, they wouldn't be telling me to my face. They'd be talking behind my back, and then those
Little
people are
keyboard
not that
warriors.
important anyway. It's like,
Yeah.
say what you want, but the people who actually care, I've had nothing but positivity and
Yeah.
people just saying, you know, go for it. I'm really impressed. In fact, one of the guys I'm training at the moment, we went on a call yesterday, and he started with, I found your LinkedIn profile. It's so good. Like, all power to you. Best of luck. And I'm like,
That's incredible. And
oh,
and you in your own mind, well, there's lots of sayings about the harm we do to ourselves in our own
yeah,
mind,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you've built up
yeah.
this crazy, insane, back to the midnight library again. This
Mm,
insane world where you're thinking, oh, everyone's going to judge me and they're going to be saying, how does she think she is? And the reality is, nobody's going to be saying that.
no,
And the fact that, I mean, the words, your own words, you've inspired me. I think it's wonderful. All those
mm,
positive words from people that love and care about you around you. I think that is amazing.
I've been blown away by it. I didn't. It's not that I expected anybody to be horrible or be like, "What you doing?" I didn't expect anything to be on. I didn't expect anybody to say anything,
Yeah, yeah.
let alone getting positive messages and
Mhm,
people being like, "I think what you're doing is amazing."
mhm.
Yeah, I've been totally blown away by it.
Well, that is incredible, and I just think, well done, you. It is, and look at the impact you must have made if you've encouraged someone else to pick up a social media account and start their own business. Well, it's like the little pebble in the pond, isn't it? It all has a
Yeah,
ripple effect, and
yeah.
it'll be really interesting to see if you have inspired someone else to set up a business. So who knows? So, with that in mind, then, this leads me on beautifully to my next question. What legacy do you hope to leave, and how do you measure the impact of your leadership?
Well, I think it is that. I hope I do inspire people to have a go. You know, people that know me, and I've had another conversation just this week, somebody who is thinking about, you know, doing something similar, setting up a sideline, because there are so many people who want, you know, their own freedom, and to do their own thing. Um, Not that my like view at the moment is to leave my day job. It would be very hard to part with because I absolutely love it. I just want my farm. But then if it does inspire people to be brave enough to do it for those purposes, then yeah. And I think I do embody my favorite quote, which is start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. If I can get a few more people in that mindset where they just think, what have I got to lose, then yeah, if I can inspire a few people to be brave and have a bit of fun along the way, always here for the lols. Uh,
Oh, do you know what? That is just incredible. So when you've got your own business and you love it that much, it's basically like a hobby, and you're earning
mm,
money from your hobby,
mm, yeah.
and it doesn't feel
And
like working at all.
no, I'm totally obsessed with this. I mean, it's limited the time I can spend on it because the day job's super busy. So I tend to just do an hour or two of an evening. I mean, sometimes it'll be 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm still
You're in
going
the
because
zone.
yeah, I just can't put it down. But you know, it's at the moment it's relatively low maintenance. It's just being visible, just making sure I'm talking about what it is that I can help people with. Just keep trying to communicate it in a way that I hope resonates with people and they understand what I'm trying to do. There's still work to do on that, because when people get in touch with me, they're like, what exactly is it that you're doing? So I know I need to work on that. But I think if I just keep chipping away and try and share as many examples as I can, because I specialize in audience engagement and in interaction, there's nothing worse than doing a course module or a webinar, or if you're training people face to face and you just get met with a row of blank silent faces. And it's something I've mastered over the years, and it does seem to be resonating with people. But yeah, I've just got to really make that super clear so it's easy for people to understand what I can help them with. So yeah, just got to keep chipping away. So it's just doing that, just keep popping on social media, putting valuable content out, and then see what happens, see where it goes.
Well, it sounds incredible, and you don't have to have everything perfect within the first few months, and it will evolve, it'll change, it'll grow, and then you'll hit on it and you'll be going, oh yeah, that's what it is, that's what it is. Well, I will definitely be keeping my eye on anything that comes from the next Amanda Jane.
So we just got to work out the collaboration that's going to happen, the Amanda Janes. It just had to happen.
Yeah, and you've had messages from people who thought you were me. That's
hilarious. I have. Yeah, have you sent me my podcast questions? I was like, I don't have a podcast. Sorry. Do apologise.
So where can we find out more about you online if it doesn't cross over with me?
I know, yeah, this is the thing. We've got to be super clear, aren't we? I'm the one that's obsessed with pumpkins. If there's loads of pumpkins on the profile, it's me. It's the audience person, the audience engagement person. So I put a lot on my Instagram. I can give you all the links afterwards, can't I?
Yes, I'll put those in the show notes.
So yeah, I do a lot on Instagram. I've become a lot more active on LinkedIn, actually. I'm really enjoying LinkedIn. It's really interactive. I've dabbled with TikTok. I don't do a lot. And I've got a website. But yeah, mostly Instagram, really.
And I like Instagram. I'm happiest in Instagram. TikTok's just a crazy place. I've got a TikTok profile. I've put a few things on there, and it either goes mad with thousands of views or 3. So I haven't quite worked it out yet.
No, me neither. I just don't understand TikTok. I just throw stuff out there and hope for the best. I
think I'd like to get better at it. I think when you've got 1,000 followers, you can go live and you can put. So I think I'll add it, but I'm not sort of gonna.
It's just trying not to fall into that trap of trying to create content to get thousands of views that are not necessarily like quality. Do you know what I mean?
If you're not selling, that's the point. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not going to fall into that trap of trying to chase the views on TikTok, because I don't know if it'll necessarily translate through to the people that I actually want to help or communicate with. I don't know. I don't know.
And it is a bit weird, because the followers aren't matching up with my ideal clients, so it's definitely something that needs a bit of work. But you can get thousands of views and don't sell things, so it's not working in that sense. But don't get hung up on all those metrics. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to Amanda Jane. I think we could probably talk all night long, but you'll come back on again. And tell me all about the next phase of your business and how your event goes in November, which I am dying to find out more about. And we don't live too far away from each other.
I was just going to say a coffee and a catch-up is definitely on the cards.
Oh, absolutely. That'll be so good.
Down the road from me. As far as it goes, people I've networked with, they're all like southeast, southwest, London.
And everything happens in London, doesn't it? So yeah, we'll have to start our own northern movement up here.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's make it happen. You know me, I'll be sorting it out
by tomorrow. By the end of this evening. Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening today, and special thanks to my amazing guest, Amanda Jane, for sharing her incredible story with us. If you want to get more exposure for your business, don't miss out on my free resources. You can find the links in the podcast notes, as well as the links that Amanda also mentioned in the podcast. Join me on the next episode for more incredible stories and insights. You can follow me on Instagram at Coach Amanda Jane or visit my website amandajane.co.uk. Bye for now.